Welcome. It is a pleasure to see all of you here. I will take you through a story much heard, but less known. But who am I speaking to you? How do I know you all? I have watched the western shores of India for eternity. I provide this country wealth of oceanic beauty and marine resources. I have witnessed many sagas of love, tragedy, treachery, adventure, and valor, all of which have had an unforgettable impact on the country's maritime heritage. This is one such saga of December 1971, a saga of courage and conviction, a saga that resulted in changing the political world map, a saga that became a defining moment for Indian Navy. I am the Arabian Sea, and I present to you a saga of Indian Navy's Killer Squadron, Chronicles of Valor. Let me begin with a bit of history, with the earliest evidence dating back to the times of the great Indus Valley civilization. Indians have always been master mariners. I have seen them sail off to the distant shores, carrying their wares to trade, but never to colonize. I have seen them rising to defend their land. I have seen feisty battles in the 16th century between Zamorin's navy, led by a succession of Kunjali Maraccas, and the Portuguese. Later in the 17th century, I have witnessed the tactical brilliance of Sarkhel Kanoji Angre, the Maratha admiral who struck the British in Mumbai, the Portuguese in Goa, the Siddhis in Alibag, and many more. He used small, agile boats to carry out rapid attacks and swift withdrawals. The Maraccas and Angre had heavily drawn upon the tactics of rapid attack and swift withdrawal, which were to prove portentous even many years later in 1971, when I saw the Killer Squadron use these very tactics in the war against Pakistan. But before I come to the 71 war, let me take you to where it all started, the shores of pious Dwarka. It was at the midnight of 7th September 1965, Pakistan undertook a sneak raid on the city of Dwarka. Although the war did not see any significant naval action, this event left an indelible mark on the sands of time.
If war comes again, I assure you that we will carry it right into the enemy's biggest port, like Karachi. You have my word that given the opportunity, the Indian Navy will make the world's biggest bonfire of it.
The world's biggest bonfire. But the preparation for it did not take place overnight.
An Indian military delegation visiting the Soviet Union at the invitation of the Defense Minister Marshal Malinovsky. The delegation is led by the Defense Minister Mr. Chavan and includes General Chowdhury and other high officials. As we record the commentary for this newsreel, it has been announced that an agreement has been signed for the supply of Soviet defense equipment on a credit basis.
In 1964, Indian Navy was offered a variety of military hardware, including the Osa-class missile boats. Their capabilities were demonstrated by Admiral Gorshkov to the Indian delegation.
Mr. Defense Minister, these Osa-class boats are the epitome of our offensive defense.
Initially reluctant, but later convinced of their efficacy when Israeli ship Elliott was sunk in the Six-Day War of 1967. The Indian Navy persisted with the political leadership and got approval to procure these missile boats. In a vow of secrecy, the Russian missile boats were contracted for India by Vice Admiral N. Krishnan-led delegation. In June 1969, under the project AK-25, named after the then CNS Admiral A.K. Chatterjee. With the acquisition deal signed, the entire crew, officers and sailors from India flew down to the Soviet Union in 2 specially chartered Air India planes. The Soviet Union had also offered the same boats to Pakistan, which they declined.
We don't think these missile boats can survive our sea and weather.
But Pakistan was soon to be proved wrong when the valiant killers came calling at their most fortified port, crossing the same rough seas, beating the same weather, and re-emphasizing what they seemed to have forgotten. It is the man behind the machine, and not the machine that wins wars. It was an uphill task, but the killers were determined to master the Russian missile boats as well as the Russians themselves. Always willing to learn new tactics, the crew of these boats went through an extensive training and were put through the final operational readiness assessment by the Russian training team, headed by a senior admiral. But remember, it was a top secret project. After the training, I saw the boats being delivered to India on modified merchant ships under the veil of secrecy. They were unloaded at Calcutta and then towed to Mumbai. In the next couple of years, crisis escalated in the Bay of Bengal. Bangladesh, which was then East Pakistan, was facing severe violations of human rights by Pakistan government. International forums refused to recognize this violent genocide in 1971. But I saw Bangladesh find their friend in need and deed in India. It was also time to avenge Dwarka.
Madam Prime Minister, things are heating up and there is a possibility of war breaking out anytime. I have made up my mind that I'm going to attack Karachi. I want political clearance from you. I don't want to be told at the last minute that I cannot do it. Militarily, it is my responsibility.
Well, Admiral, if there is a war, there is war.
On the 1st of December, just 3 days before the attack, Chief of the Naval Staff addressed his commanding officers at Mumbai.
We have planned to launch an attack on Karachi. I want every ship to be ready and out for operation. Will you do it?
Aye, sir! The Indian state of West Bengal was attacked in the biggest mistake made by the Pakistani forces. Their air force went on to strike 9 Indian airfields on our western border. Backed by all opposition parties in India, Indira Gandhi decided to declare war against Pakistan.
Some hours ago, at 5:30 p.m. on the 3rd of December, Pakistan launched a full-scale war against us. Today, the war on Bangladesh has become a war on India. We have no other option but to put our country on war footing. Emergency has been declared for the whole of India. Every necessary step has been taken and we are prepared for all eventualities. Aggression must be met and the people of India will meet it with fortitude and determination, with discipline and utmost verity. Jai Hind!
Consequently, the Indian naval chief unleashed a fury with a most inspiring signal for commencing hostilities.
Pakistan has committed an unprovoked aggression against us, and our defense forces have been ordered to meet this challenge with full courage and determination. My objective is to search and destroy Pakistani warships and along with sister services to inflict maximum damage on the enemy war machines. No sacrifice should be too much for us. Let us write a new chapter in the history of our services.
To undertake the greatest preemptive naval operations since the Second World War, the Killer Squadron utilized the principles of surprise, rapid attack, and swift withdrawals to launch its surgical strike. 3rd December 1971, INS Nirghat, already deployed at Okha, received its orders in a sealed envelope by Naval Officer in Charge Kathiawar. After the CO briefed his ship's company of the plan, he found Seaman Ajay Singh gazing at the national flag with determination and fervor.
हाँ अजय, क्या इरादा है?
सर मौका मिला है इस बार, दुश्मन को तोड़ देंगे।
चिप्स कंपनी हमारे परिवारों की, हमारी नौसेना की और हमारे देशवासियों की निगाह अभी हम पर टिकी है। हमें कराची हार्बर से 20 मील तक जाकर उस हार्बर और उसमें मौजूद सभी जहाजों पर मिसाइल लॉन्च करने का आदेश मिला है। We are going for Operation Trident.
Hands to action stations. Hands to action stations. Hands to action stations.
From Okha, Nirghat shaped course for the Saurashtra coast to rendezvous Veer and Nipat, who were towed by Katchal and Kiltan. After fueling with the tanker Poshak, the ships proceeded in arrowhead formation to head west and alter the course northwards. The orders were clear. Maintain absolute silence till they close Karachi to 60 nautical miles. 4th December 2200 hours. The ships reached 60 nautical miles of Karachi. My adrenaline was rushing as I saw everybody gearing up for action. 22:45 hours, but there was no contact. Rangoon was drawing a blank. The threat of detection was continuously increasing for the Indian naval ships.
Captain, we have a large surface contact on Port Bow. Contact designated Rhino Alpha.
OTC, this is Nirghat. Rhino Alpha on bearing 330, range 24 nautical miles, on course 150, speed 25 knots. Appreciate hostile.
Nirghat, this is OTC. Rhino Alpha classified hostile and redesignated Brandy Alpha. Engage Brandy Alpha.
Gunnery officer, engage Brandy Alpha with missile number 1.
Aye, sir. Launching missile now. Missile away.
First blood was drawn. Nirghat became the first ship that ushered the Indian Navy into the mystical world of missile warfare. The target was Pakistani destroyer, PNS Khyber. Nipat and Veer were now closing Karachi. They were each assigned one contact on their radar screens and ordered to engage with 2 missiles each. Their targets? MV Venus Challenger, a merchant ship carrying ammunition load for Pakistan Air Force and Army, and PNS Mohafiz, a Pakistani minesweeper, which was later sunk without a trace left behind. This was followed by INS Nipat, closing Karachi further to 15 nautical miles and launching 1 missile on Kiamari oil fields at 23:30 hours. The killers did what they set out to do. They set Karachi ablaze. The bonfire had begun taking shape. The code word for mission accomplished was Angar. 6th December. I saw the missile boats come home to a hero's welcome and applause. Back in Karachi, Pakistan Navy withdrew all forces. The missile vessel squadron proved too dangerous for Pakistani ships to be left outside the harbor. Pakistan had no clue of the determination of the killers. They had set out to achieve complete supremacy and annihilate Pakistan. And they weren't going to stop at nothing. This time, it was INS Vinash that was set out for the mission. The next attack was planned for the night of 8th December. This was Operation Python. INS Vinash was towed till the morning of 8th December. After a quick refueling, it was unleashed to wreak havoc, along with Talwar and Trishul in company. At 2300 hours, the group arrived off Karachi. And as all stories go, sometimes the heroes don't know what's coming for them.
Southern! Total power failure, total power failure, total power failure.
OTC, this is Vinash. Have total power failure. Rangoon radar not available. However, missiles can be fired.
Vinash, this is OTC. Prepare to launch missiles with data from fleet units.
Very good. Start D and check for seawater pressure. Very good. Let's take D on load. Braj, this is engine room. We are good to go, sir. The power supply is restored.
The battle was far from won. The radar was drawing a blank, except for the Pakistan coastline at distance.
XO, there are your targets. Guns. First missile on oil tanks right ahead. The strong echo painting on the coast. And missiles 2, 3 and 4 on Brandy Alpha, Brandy Bravo and Brandy Charlie.
Aye, sir. Launching now. Missile away.
The destruction was enormous. I saw the oil fields burning for the next 7 days. All 4 missiles hit their targets. The first missile set Karachi ablaze again in a span of 7 days. The second and the third missiles hit and damaged the British ship Hamilton and sunk Panamanian ship Gulf Star. The last missile sank the Pakistani supply ship PNS Dhaka. The success and fear of the missile boats was such that merchant ships and civil aircraft started taking permission from Delhi to venture in and out of Karachi.
At the call of the nation, the Indian Navy went into action on the 3rd of December 1971. The gallant ships of the fleet sank 2 Pakistan major warships and set Karachi harbour ablaze.
On 16th December 1971, Pakistan surrendered. Borders in the subcontinent were redefined. A new nation was born. The Indian Navy had shown the world what it was capable of. India began to command respect as one of the greatest military powers. With this attacking genius of the killers, the valor of Indian Navy was in the forefront of the nation. The Prime Minister wrote to the CNS expressing her gratitude.
The Navy's exploits in these 14 days of fighting will long be remembered. The achievements of our naval forces have thrilled the nation. Our leadership and the daring and the skill of our fleet have made singular contribution to the success of war on both fronts. I would like to express the gratitude of the government and the people of India to you and to your officers and men.
For their valiant actions, the killer squadron received 1 Mahavir Chakra, 7 Veer Chakras, and 8 Nausena medals. Relationships between India and the Soviet Union continued to strengthen. In 1972, a second squadron of OSA-2 class of missile boats was contracted. In 1976, 3 new and improved Durg class of missile boats were commissioned. With ever-improving capabilities of the missile boats and increased threat, Indian Navy contracted for larger 400 tons Veer class missile boats with enhanced endurance and missiles with greater ranges. In 1987, these newly contracted boats formed the 22nd Missile Vessel Squadron, as we see it today. Through all this time, I have seen the ships of Killer Squadron always forward deployed and deterring any nefarious intentions of the enemy. Even today, I see them alert and ready to lead their navy into harm's way. I have no doubts that if the call comes again, the ships of the Killer Squadron will live up to their expectations and their motto, first strike. Till then, I rest in calm.